What's going on, everybody? It's the man of the hour, QJB, aka Cleveland. I got this NBA 2K14 My Career featuring a hometown hero, based from the East, Mr. Quad Dub, based on the block, real deal, nil, still, Bridges. So even though I have NBA 2K14 playing in the background, I have to talk to you about NBA 2K15. So if you don't know, I was at the community event and we actually got to play the game. We saw some cool stuff. Come on.
Bridges got swag, hard in the paint, and I'm dunking and they mad, man, they wanna be like me. QJB, Bridges got swag. That's how
so look at that. I noticed Dirk Nowitzki is on the bench and he's in pain. What's going on? He only played one game with us so far and he's already injured. So speaking of injuries, in NBA 2K15, the injuries are a lot better. They're a lot more realistic. As you know, they announced they have like the 16 main parts that can get injured, but the devs were telling us, you know, there's a lot more injuries than that. So could you imagine getting hit in the eye? Could you imagine getting a broken nose or losing a couple teeth? That would be crazy, right? So keep an eye on those injuries. So I did see one injury while we were playing the game. I was playing against LD2K. He had the Lakers, and I believe it was Nick Young. He jumped up and went for a block. He came down, fell, and actually hit his head on the floor. He hit the back of his head on the court, and he was holding his head. So the injuries are a lot more contextual. So whatever happens on the court, if they injure that part or if something happens, that will be the body part injured. You know, in past titles, you could hurt your arm and you could be limping. So all of that stuff is gone. It's a lot more realistic. Look at me coming down with the dunk. Bridges going off. So speaking of dunks, you can still get posterizers in 2K15, but you don't see them as much. And I know some of you might not like that, but it's a lot better, trust me. It's a lot more rewarding when you actually do get a posterizer and the crowd is going crazy like that. So just keep an eye on that. And we did see some instances where someone would go in and try to dunk and you could jump up, try to block it. So they might, there might be a collision in the air, and they do like the Blake Griffin dunk where they just try to like throw it in, you know what I mean? So that's cool, man. You're gonna see a lot of that. Speaking of collisions, the collisions in the paint are so crazy, man. They're so realistic. Like, I don't think I've seen the same collision twice the whole time I was playing the game, folks. It seems like when you drive in, when there's contact, something different always happens. I don't get it. It's like full physics, but I don't know if it's full physics, you know what I mean? You're gonna see that. It's crazy, man. And no more of those animations where you get sucked in and get dunked on. I didn't see any of that stuff on posterizer, so that's good. There's also some new passing controls, and let me break it down to you real quick. We were playing on the PlayStation 4, so if you hold the left trigger, L2, and press X, that's still your bounce pass. If you're holding L2 and square, that's still your alley-oop. Now, L trigger plus triangle, that'll give you like a lob pass, so if you're trying to get it into the post, that's a good way to get it into the post. And basically holding L2 and pressing circle will be your flashy pass. So that's a neat feature they added. It's easy to get those passes off, you know, in a quick, timely manner. So keep that in mind. Moving along to the net physics and the rim physics. Seems like they changed that. They revamped the nets. It looks a lot more realistic. It looks better. Look at me coming down, going up with the ooh! L trigger plus X, L2 plus square. Y'all know how to call for them alley-oops. But yeah, the rim physics, the net physics look great, man. I hit one swish. The net, oh my god, it was like yak 'em. That net, it looked great. But anyway, moving along, let's talk a little bit about shot feedback. So now the shot feedback meter is underneath your player's feet. You're going to see that on NBA 2K15, and I love it. It's a lot better. If you get a perfect release, you basically have to release it right when the meter gets right in the middle. It's kind of hard to explain. You have to see it. And if it's early, the meter will be a little bit to the left. If it's later, it'll be to the right. And, you know, it'll be color coordinated, letting you know, get that thing out of here. Look at those blocks. It'll be color coordinated, basically letting you know what type of release you had. But even better is, so say I had a perfect release with Neil Bridges or somebody, and I made the shot. When I'm coming back on defense, you know, the meter stays lit for a few seconds so you can tell exactly what type of release he had. So that's great, especially I think that'll be better for my team or any other modes where you play with a lot of people like my team or either online ranked or anything like that, because you know sometimes you don't know all the players and a lot of the times you don't know what their shot release is, so that also helps you get to know your players better and everything like that. So leading into getting to know players better, there's another small menu you can activate by pressing up on the D-pad in game. So say I'm playing my team and I push up on the D-pad, every player that I'm controlling, it'll scroll through each one, you know, so say I'm Neil Bridges right now, it would have his stat line in the top right corner as it is right now. Along with the stats, you'll also see basically my ratings, but in a letter form. So say I was in the paint, I would have like a A plus close range. I would have like a, you know, maybe a B plus 3-point range. So that helps you get to know your players better. And as you move around the court, it changes. So that's kind of like touching on your hot spots. So you know I like to shoot threes from the wing. So if I'm sitting on the wing, you know, my 3-point, it would tell me that it's probably like an A plus. Or if I was in the corner, it might be a B plus. You never know. It depends on where your hot spots are. And it's the same thing on defense. So you know I like to block shots and get steals. So that might be highlighted as an A. You know what I'm saying? So every player that you click on, like if you're in my team, it'll show you exactly what that player can do. That's great because a lot of times you might have players and you're not sure exactly what they can do out on the court. So that's a quick way to understand who's on your team and how to use them without having to like go to the pause menu, go look at their ratings and this and that. All you do is flick up on the D-pad and that stuff is accessible to you. So keep all that stuff in mind, folks. We touched on a lot. You know, I'm still under the NDA, so there are some things I cannot tell you about, but I'm telling you, the gameplay is crazy. The game modes are even crazier. So I forgot to mention that the alley-oops are not overpowered anymore. It's a lot easier to tip them when you're in the right defensive position, and, you know, the success rate on them are not as high. So I think it's based more on the passer rating of the person that's throwing the alley-oop. So that's a great thing. So if you have any questions about gameplay, that's all I can talk about today. Make sure you leave me a comment. I'm going to be checking those, or hit me up on Twitter at QJBEAT. I will be getting to those. So we're going to walk out of here with a W. And as always, folks, we touched on a lot. If you got to rewind the video, make sure you do that. Tell a friend, tell a friend. That nasty.
You had 20 rebounds in this one. In fact, that was one of the best rebounding performances of the season. Was that a goal of yours coming into this game?
Yeah, it was one of our team goals going into the game. We wanted to come out strong and be the more physical team from the get-go. And I think it manifested itself a little in how we attacked the glass on both ends of the floor. We know that we're at our best when we're being the aggressors and creating the contact. And part of that is tracking down every rebound we can. Really just a great game plan tonight, and it got us the win, man.